Hello there, Malcolm here from the Fiasco. We've got a new album coming out on the 31st of January, in case you didn't already know, 10 new songs. And I thought some of you might be interested to see how we go about writing those songs and how we go about making the records, because I think it's quite different to how a lot of other bands do it. So I'm going to make a few of these short videos taking you right through the process, from the birth of an idea right through to the final mix. So hope you enjoy it.
So, writing the lyrics. When we started this process, we both agreed that the song should be funny and interesting. So, as simple as that sounds, the idea was that if we find it funny and interesting, then hopefully others would too. But one thing to look out for in the lyrics is I'll often have just a single line or a couple of words that, when placed next to each other, are quite clunky and difficult to say, with the idea if they're difficult to say, they'll even be even harder to sing. So the whole lyric is designed to try and trip Malcolm up. So things like, in Here All Week, we have the line, Aperol Spritz and Pistachio Bake. And in Monogamy Pews, the two words, mahogany and monogamy, placed together, I thought would be hard for him to sing. Turns out it wasn't. But it doesn't stop me trying. So on the new record, out on the 31st of January, there's a song called Strictly Hickory. And you'll see whether I trip him up or whether he sings it with aplomb. See you soon.
Right, lyrics. All of our songs start with the lyrics. Dave writes them. I don't know how he does that. I'm sure he'll make a little film to explain it. All I know is they turn up in my email inbox and they're always really highly structured. The verses and the choruses and the middle eights are always really mapped out. He even repeats lines as he writes them that he wants me to repeat when there's a melody. So it's often very clear how the song is going to be structured. And then all I do is I read them. And I try to keep the patterns of speech and the rhythms and the inflections that you would have in the intonation of your voice when you speak. I try to keep all those things in the music. So I just read them and then I write down the rhythm of what I say in music notation. Right, see you in the next episode.
So the last thing on lyrics, for me, opening lines are really important. The opening line has to feel like the opening the door to somewhere where you want to go. And the rhythm of how I write, Malcolm touched upon that, but it's really important for me that the lyric isn't one-dimensional, that there are peaks and there are troughs, and a clear idea of the beginning of the story and the end of the story. The lyrics are very traditionally written in the sense that it's verse, chorus, a middle eight. But again, that rhythm is very important. So things like scenes from a Fell Riding Year that's quite wordy. If something is quite wordy and I'm not sure how it might scan, I'll use the piano as a kind of percussive instrument to see how that feels when I sing it or when I say it. But also writing with colour. There are authors that I like, Jess Walter, Sarah Winman, that I think write with colour. Lyricists like Chris Difford and Ian Dury are kind of obvious ones that spring to mind, who I take inspiration from. But probably almost without exception, one or two exceptions, the lyrics are things that I've read, seen, heard of, snippets of conversation. Things like Reno's Electric Stairs is about the invention of the escalator. Benny Rise and Shine is an imaginary music hall act, a guy called Benny Rise and his dog Shine. Mostly it's my nonsense. So everyone talks about finding your own voice. For me, it's just finding my own nonsense. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the record, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Still on the subject of the lyrics, this is what I get from Dave. Can you see that? He sends me a Word document or an email or whatever, and that's the lyric for a track called Happy Couple, which is on the new album. And if I just read to you what the lyric says, you'll get the idea of what I said in the last episode. It's not about the happy couple, it's about the ones and twos. No one's playing better, no one's dancing in these shoes. Straight away, there's a rhythm to that. Da 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 da. Well, I don't want to lose that. I'm going to keep that, okay? And also, straight away, we know this is about a wedding DJ. It's not about the happy couple. It's about the ones and twos. We're starting to get a picture of where this is going. So the other thing that's happening when I'm reading the lyrics is I'm trying to get a feel for the subject. And in this lyric, this guy is a mobile wedding DJ. He's quite cynical, it's quite dark in the verses, but in the choruses he says, I love these nights, I love this couple, I love the Stones, the Harlem Shuffle. So he kind of loves his work as well. So now I know that in the verses I want it to be quite dark, and in the choruses I want it to be much more airy, almost like a sort of churchy, gospel-y vibe. The other thing is it's making me think about songs like Oops Upside Your Head and Rock the Boat, those kind of songs you always hear at weddings. So I'm pretty sure this one's going to be like 120 BPM, disco, dark verse, happy chorus. So I've read the lyrics, I've got a rhythm map for the way the words are going to scan. I've decided what the tempo is going to be. I know what the feel and the style of the music is going to be. I know that I want the verses to be dark, and so probably in a minor key, and the choruses to be much lighter, and so probably in a major key. So we're really getting somewhere. So the next thing I do is write down the lyric on a computer program called Sibelius, which is a music scoring tool, basically. A bit like a word processor, but for music. And then I put all of the parts for the band, apart from the drums and the guitar, which we'll come back to. I put them all on the same score, which hopefully you can see here. So there's the score for the first page of Happy Couple, and there's the whole song as we go through. And what's on there is all the voices, all four of us sing, the keyboards, some extra synths, the bass, and some percussion. On this one, some marimba, because I love the sound of a marimba doubling a guitar or synths or whatever. And so I start to score it out. I just write the parts out in that form. I don't do the guitars and the bass because Paul and Patrick are going to do those, and we'll come on to those later. Hello again. Sorry about the lighting right in front of the window. There's not much I can do. Thankfully the sun's shining. So I've scored out all the parts for Happy Couple, and I've printed them off, and then I bring them into my studio here and I play all of the parts into the machine and I record them. Everything's played, nothing's sequenced. But remember, I haven't done the drums or the guitars because Pat and Paul are going to do those. Well, once I've got everything else recorded, I do a very rough, what I call a skeleton mix of what I've got, and then I send those to Pat and Paul, and they send me back the drums and the guitars, and it's all really exciting. So this is what they get.
It's not about a happy couple, it's about the ones and twos. No one's playing better, no one's dancing in these shoes.
Sounds strange, doesn't it, without the drums or the guitars? But don't worry, next episode, they'll be here too. Cheers to you. Right, so Patrick and Paul have been beavering away in their studios at their homes, one in this country, one in America, would you believe? And then they send me the files of their parts. And so the guitars arrive sounding like this. Lovely, don't want to give the game away. And the drums arrive sounding like this. And so what I do is I just spin those into the tracks, and then it's final mix time. So we get to the mix, which brings all the things we've been looking at so far together. This tune we've been looking at, Happy Couple, starts with the synths and the marimba together. Then the drums come in here. And we've got a bass, doubled by a clavinet. Also a Wurlitzer piano. And all of the guitars. And the vocals.
I love these nights, I love this moon. I love the stones, the heart and shuffle.
So there you have it, out on the 31st of January. Good luck, everyone. So that's your lot. The album's going to be called Are You Sure? It's out on the 31st of January on the 1957 Tailfin Fiasco Bandcamp. We really hope you like it. Thanks for following along this far, and cheers to us all. Ta-da!